You are loud and clear.
I don't know why members are not responding, and there are few even in class. Maybe I give it 3 more minutes, then I start. Okay, so Teacher Bernard, I think I should start. It is 10 minutes past, as earlier agreed on. Okay, so good afternoon, members. Good evening, rather, members, once again. So as communicated earlier in the group, today we are handling I'm Tired of Talking in Metaphors by Dr. Susan Chiguli. So on my screen, is my screen visible to you?
Yes.
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 Okay, please. So, and there is my number, and that is my name. So could the member please read the poem? That is the first stanza. Could the member please read?
I'm tired of talking in metaphors. I'll talk plainly because I'm moved to abandon riddles. I'll tell you of how we held our heads in our hands because the owl howled all night and the dogs howled as if mourning. We waited the bad news, we received it. Our mother, blinded in one eye, crippled in the right leg because she did not vote for her husband's candidate.
Okay, go on. You can go on.
I will remind you of when the peeled plantains stood upright in the cooking pot. We slaughtered a cow, anticipating an important visitor. We got her, our daughter, pieces of flesh in a sack, our present from her husband.
You can
No,
go.
I will not. No, I will not use metaphors. I will just talk to you. I do not fight to take your place or to constantly wave my fist in your face. I refuse to argue about your manly. Sure, this word is not censored properly. Let me
It is
see.
packed.
Packed.
Yes.
Okay. I refuse to argue about your manly pact with my father. You're buying me for a bag of potatoes and pepper. And all I want is for you to stop denying me. My presence needs no metaphors. I'm here just as you are. I'm not a machine to dismantle whenever you whim. I demand my human dignity.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Pamela and Patience. Okay, thank you very much. I wish to get another person to read it once more. Another person? Yes, Christine?
I'm tired of talking in metaphors. I am tired of talking in metaphors. I will talk plainly because I am moved to abandon riddles. I will tell you of how we held our heads in our hands because the owl hooted all night. And the dogs howled as if mourning. We awaited the bad news, we received it. Our mother blinded in one eye, crippled in the right leg, because she did not vote for her husband's candidate. I will remind you of when we peeled the plantains, stood upright in the cooking pot, we slaughtered a cow, anticipating an important visitor. We got her, our daughter, pieces of flesh in a sack, our present from her husband. No, I will not use metaphors. I will just talk to you. I do not fight to take your place or constantly wave my fist in your face. I refuse to argue about your manly pact with your father. You're buying me for a bag of potatoes and pepper. All I want is for you to stop denying me. My presence needs no metaphors. I'm here just as you are. I'm not a machine to dismantle whenever you whim. I demand my human dignity.
Thank you, Christine. I will make the 3 times so that we can go to analysis. I'm tired of talking in metaphors by Dr. Chiguli Susan. I'm tired of talking in metaphors. I will talk plainly because I'm moved to abandon riddles. I will tell you of how we held our heads in our hands because they all hooted all night and the dogs howled as if mourning. We waited the bad news, we received it. Our mother blinded in one eye, crippled in the right leg because she did not vote for her husband's candidate. I will remind you of when the peeled plantains. I will remind you of when the peeled plantains stood upright in the cooking pot. We slaughtered a cock, anticipated an important visitor. We got her, our daughter, pieces of flesh in a sack, our present from her husband. No, I will not use metaphors. I will just talk to you. I do not fight to take your place or to constantly wave my fist in your face. I refuse to argue about your playing manly pact with my father. You are buying me for a bag of potatoes and pepper. All I want is for you to stop denying me. My presence needs no metaphors. I am here, just as you are. I am not a machine to dismantle whenever you whim. I demand my human dignity. Okay, I thank you all. That was the poem. And our first question, as usual, is who is the persona in this poem? Who is the speaking voice in the poem? Sheila, your hand is up. Do you want to say something? Sheila. Who is the persona in the poem, please? Others can type in the chat. The others, you can raise your hands. I will see them. Who is speaking? Who is the persona? I'm waiting. Aline, what do you think? Aline? Pamela and Patience? Pamela and Patience? Lydia Virungi? Lydia? No one is responding to that question. Or maybe we first handle question 2 so that you get an idea of question 1. What is the message of this poem? What is the poem talking about?
To me, okay, the subject matter, like what's the poem talking about? I think the poem is an attack of mistreatment of women by men. The speaker is a married woman who is criticized the injustices that women face at the hands of their husbands, being denied the right to freely choose leaders, and when they vote contractly to their husbands' wishes, they are brutalized and they are constantly battered. The speaker is therefore speaking on behalf of these women, demanding for their respect and dignity, not because she wants to take the position of their husbands.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other person that would wish to add on that? Sheila. Sheila. Yes. So to go with what Pamela and Patience said, yes, it is true. The poem is trying to criticize, to sabotage, or to oppress and make their wives suffer. In the first stanza, the speaker received the news that her mother was blinded in one eye and injured in the right leg just because she did not vote the candidate that her husband expected. And the other is on her on her sister who went to marry, and the gift that came back to their home is the pieces. The sister was cut into pieces, packed in a bag as if it is a package, and delivered it to her family. So now this woman is getting married, and she was just paid. Her bride price, or the dowry paid, was a bag of potatoes plus pepper, just maybe red pepper. So she's saying, I'm not trying to overtake your manly thinking. I'm just trying to think out, to be human, so that I'm treated as a human being. I'm not a machine that you have to kick and beat up every time you are annoyed, or something has not gone right with you. In the chat, Christine says it is talking about someone, probably a woman, who is tired of being mistreated. That is correct. Thank you, Christine. And I thank you, Pamela and Patience, for that good response to the question. Now, given that understanding and explanation, now we go back to the persona. Who is speaking? This one says, I'm tired of speaking metaphors. I'm tired of this. I do this, you do this. I'm not a machine. I'm a human being like you. So who is speaking? Who is the speaking voice? Who is the persona in the poem? Someone? Noel, your hand was, Noella, your hand was up. Is it Noella, Christine? Christine.
I think the persona is a mistreated woman, or a woman who has witnessed other fellow women being mistreated.
Okay, thank you. Any other person? Any other? Noella, what do you think? Noella. Okay. Pamela and Patience, do you have something to say?
Shall I repeat the question?
We are trying to identify who the persona is in the poem. Could you be having an idea? Did you hear me, Pamela?
So I would like to know, is the persona also as the same as the speaker?
Yes, it is the same as the speaker, or the speaking voice. It is the same.
I guess the speaking voice is of a married woman who is criticizing men who mistreat their wives.
Okay, thank you. So the two answers, Christine and Pamela's answers, are correct and related. So the speaking voice in this poem is someone, or is a lady who is trying to create awareness of men's thinking and men's oppression, oppression and oppression and towards the female, or the ladies, or the women. So in here, the persona is someone who is tired and trying to tell we are men to think twice before they oppress their women, because their women are also human beings. They ought to be respected. Noella says, sorry, teacher, I joined late. I did not get the poem. Sorry, Noella, you'll get it, but I posted it before time in the WhatsApp group. So here it is an annoyed or disgruntled lady, a disgruntled woman, trying to say head on and talk about men's oppression towards women. because he says, I'm tired of speaking in metaphors. I'm tired of the silence of ladies towards the oppressing husbands. So he says, I'm tired. The metaphors is trying to reduce something, or not saying the exact thing, but beating about the bush around it. Let's say if I beat my wife every now and the wife says, my husband, you must be really in love with me. Beating me every time, that is a good sign. So instead of saying something straight, I'm tired of being beaten every now and then, he or she just tries to beat around the bush, not hitting the exact point. So here the speaking voice is a disgruntled woman or wife who tries to tell the men to stop oppressing their women, because the women are also human beings and they have suffered a lot on the hands of their husbands. Okay, so we go to the next question. The next question, give the speaker's attitude towards the subject. Give the speaker's attitude towards the subject. What is the speaker's attitude towards the subject? Could I get an answer? Someone? Since there are two members that have just joined us, I wish to read through the poem once more, so that the two members or the three members can also get an idea, or get the poem in their head, so that we go on to analyze the poem. So I read. The new members, can you hear me now? Lillian, Noella, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the poem. I'm tired of talking in metaphors, by Dr. Susan Chiguli. I'm tired of talking in metaphors. I will talk plainly because I am moved to abandon riddles. I will tell you of how we held our heads in our hands, because the owl hooted all night and the dogs howled as if mourning. We waited the bad news. We received it. Our mother blinded in one eye, crippled in the right leg, because she did not vote for her husband's candidate. I will remind you of what the peeled plantains, I will remind you of when the peeled plantains stood upright in the cooking pot. We slaughtered a cock, anticipating an important visitor. We got her, our daughter, pieces of flesh in a sack, our present from her husband. No, I will not use metaphors. I will just talk to you. I do not fight to take your place or to constantly wave my fist in your face. I refuse to argue about your manly pact. With my father, you are buying me for a bag of potatoes and pepper. All I want is for you to stop denying me. My presence need no metaphors. I am here just as you are. I am not a machine to dismantle whenever you whim. I demand my human dignity. So that is the poem. And we are dealing now with the third question, question D. Question C. Explain the speaker's attitude towards the subject matter. And in the charts, Christine says the speaker's attitude towards the speaker is concerned. Okay, that is Christine. Pamela says the speaker's attitude is negative. So I think that all examples of attitude to be given may be all in negative. Okay, thank you, Pamela and Patience. Any other person, maybe by show of hands? How does the speaker feel about the subject that is being talked about in the poem? Noah, you're welcome. How does the speaker...
Thank you, sir.
Noah, do you have the poem with you?
No, I've just joined.
Could you check in the group, the little group, the poem is there? Okay.
Okay.
Christine, your hand is up.
All right.
I think the speaker is angry and tired.
Okay. Because the question says explain. So you need to explain that why you think the speaker is angry and tired, giving the fact from the poem. Christine, I'm still on you.
So let me rethink and get the explanation.
Okay, please. In the chats, Pamela and Christian say it is critical. Okay. It is disappointing, Pamela adds, yes. So you're giving evidence to back your thinking why the speaker you say the speaker's attitude is negative. So you say it is negative because the issue at hand is critical. Two, it is disappointing. It is the speaker is disappointed. Any other? Okay. I will show you something here where you can see the speaker's attitude. Okay, let's start with this. Let me first read the message, then Noella says, I think speaker's attitude is bitter because he refuses to use metaphors and wants to be straightforward, which is a bit harsh. Very correct, Noella, thank you. So here we have points to back up our thinking. We all agree the speaker's attitude is not good. It is negative because of some of the things that she has said in the poem. So here is so they received news in stanza 1. Look at the stanza 1, what it says. I will talk plainly because I'm moved to abandon riddles. I will tell you of how we held our heads in our hands. Can you see that? That is one of the, we are going to handle techniques, the poetic devices. Now, how can you hold your head in your hands? So here the speaker says, we held our hands our heads in our hands because the owl hooted all night. All of you know there are symbols here. An owl is a symbol of something. You will talk about that. So an owl in African tradition is related to something bad. So when an owl hoots at night, you know what happens. And the dogs hold as if mourning. The dogs, they did not bark. In this poem, they hold as if mourning. And mourning deals with sad moments. Someone has died, that's when you mourn. So the dogs, they hold. They did not bark. There are two sounds that dogs make. One is the barking and the other is the holding. So here we are dealing with the holding, and the holding is related to mourning. We waited the bad news. Which bad news did they wait for? And they received it indeed. So this was the news. Our mother blinded in one eye. They hit her in one eye, so that eye was removed. crippled in another leg. So the leg was off. The right leg, crippled in the right leg, that one was off. Because she did not, why was she blinded in one eye, crippled in the right leg? Because she did not vote for the candidate of her husband's favor. So the husband maybe voted the Kyagulanyi, and so the wife voted Museveni. And so when the husband saw that the wife did not vote Kyagulanyi, he hit her in the eye and the leg. So we got, that is the first evidence that shows the speaker is not happy with the subject. Two, I remind you, this thing happened some time back. I remind you of when the peeled plantains, peeled matoke, stood upright in the cooking pot. How can potatoes, rather, how can matoke stand in the pot? It means something is wrong, because the matoke is the matoke are supposed to lie down in the pot, but here they are standing. It means even the matoke became rebellious. So this news that we're going to read about even scared the matoke that was peeled. So the matoke could not settle in the pot. Are you following, members?
Yes.
Okay, so in here, the news that when the matoke stood upright in the cooking pot, they slaughtered a cock. So thinking they would get, anticipating an important visitor. So they thought they would receive an important visitor. And so here comes the irony. You peel the matoke as if you are preparing for a party. You think you're going to receive a visitor. You slaughter a cock. And now, instead of receiving a visitor, you receive cut pieces of your daughter in a sack. So you receive a package. To open the package, there are cut pieces of your daughter in the sack. So here it is, we got her. Did they get her or we got it? So they got her. Who? Our daughter, pieces of flesh in a sack. Our present from her husband. So she calls the pieces of flesh of her daughter in a sack a present, as if it is a gift. So the husband got the wife, cut her in two pieces, packed in the sack, sent the gift to the in-laws. So the in-laws received the gift, which was the daughter who was cut into pieces. So I will not go into the others. Those are the two major examples. Actually, the situation is not just disappointing. The situation is worse. I can read in the chat, Pamela, I think that is being assertive in stanza 1, where the speaker says that she will talk plainly. Okay. I think the speaker, Christine K says, I think the speaker is desperate for change, i.e. positive change. Reason being, the title of the poem is I am tired of using, as you are talking in metaphors. Very correct. So I would wish to correct Pamela and Patience that the speaker is not assertive. The speaker is something assertive, yes, but assertive is at a low level. Something that has gone rogue. It means men have gone rogue. So wherever they find a woman, their only intention is to beat, is to injure, is to abuse, and worse still is to cut in two pieces. So this persona is really annoyed to a level of maybe I can say, I'm just using my word, of committing suicide. Now imagine you have slaughtered the cock, you have peeled matoke, you are expecting to be visited by Nabanja. Like now you are preparing to receive the 100K. And now the message comes on your phone to go. You are very happy with the thinking that the money has come, and you receive a message maybe your brother has died, or your boyfriend has died, or your, God forbid what I'm saying. So the message you go anticipating good news, instead you receive the opposite. That is irony. So we will discuss the techniques later on. So I hope I'm being understood here. Am I?
Yes, you are.
Okay, we go to question D. Give one character trait of the speaker. Now that's when the other answers that some of you have given come in. What are the character traits of the speaker? How does the speaker take himself? If when you read what she has said or what he has rather what she has said, because this is a woman, when you read what she has said, what do you get of her? What do you understand about her? Christine, your hand is up.
I think the character trait of the speaker, I think the speaker is long suffering. Reason being, she had to first wait and see what happens to her mother and then look around at what's happening to everybody else before she could finally speak. Like all the things that have been happening have just been heaping and heaping and heaping, and she was silent for that time until she just decided to speak after something.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Noella? Noella?
I'm still thinking.
Okay, please. Pamela?
Shall give me some time.
Okay, but for me now, I have to give the answer and we go on.
Teacher,
Yes, please.
I
Yes,
think
Christine.
I think the speaker is also ambitious. Reason being, she in one of the standards she said that she's tired of talking in metaphor, and still as you go on further, she says that she will talk plainly.
Okay. So thank you. So those two that you have given Christine are correct. So Pamela and Patience, you are thinking, but you have already given one answer in the charts. If you read here when he said the speaker's attitude is negative, so I think that all examples of attitude be given may be all in negative. For example, the speaker is critical. Rather, he's critical. Yes, he has been following this issue from the beginning up to now. Two, Pamela, you again said that I think it is being assertive. So the speaker is assertive. So those are two. And three, because Christine, you said something where things have been happening and the speaker has been silent. You see, in the first stanza, her mother was injured and blinded. In the second stanza, her sister was killed. And in the third stanza, that's when she was disappointed by her father and her husband. So the husband paid only a sack of potatoes. Let me show it here. The husband paid only a sack of potatoes and pepper as bride price. So it is here in the fourth and fifth last lines. So you are buying me for a bag of potatoes and pepper. Can you imagine? So on top of buying me for a bag of potatoes and peppers, you go on to beat me every now and then because you think you are a man. No, I will not accept that. And please, my friend, don't think I'm arguing that you stop beating me. You think we are going to fight every time. You can see in the fourth line, or to constantly, rather in the third line, I do not fight to take your place. I'm not telling you, husband, to calm down because I want to take your place. No, or neither do I want to constantly wave my fist in your face because they think because we know in African traditional society, if a man does not beat her wife, if a man does not beat her wife, it means a time will come when the woman becomes rebellious and the woman will beat the husband. And so men tend to mistreat women because they are trying to tame them, to put them in order. So the woman says, no, if you stop misbehaving or mistreating me, I will not start fighting with you every now and then. I'll just remain as a woman, the woman that you married, and please, mind you, on top of that, you bought me a bag of potatoes or pepper. That means women have been reduced to a mere bag of potatoes and pepper. Are you following, members? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Christine, could you keep on unmute? Christine,
Yes, please.
what would you say if I met your dad in maybe in a hotel? We talked and I paid. We agreed on the bride price. If in case I liked you, so we agreed on the bride price. I come home when you are there and I pay bride price of a sack of potatoes. I bring my potatoes in a sack, one sack, and as maybe a kilogram of pepper. I tell man, you told me to bring a sack of potatoes. Here it is. You told me to bring you a kilo of pepper. Here it is. And so please give me my Christine. So what would you say or what would you do?
Personally, I think I would feel disappointed and angry, not only because of the bride price that has been brought, but also the fact that I've not been involved in the talk of me having to get married or to be given out to someone.
Okay.
So I would maybe run away possibly.
Okay, so now here we remember we are still handling the other question. So here these two are great. You can see in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, second. In the eighth line, with my father, you are buying me for a bag of potatoes. So these two agreed. And so the husband came and paid. So the woman was submissive enough. This lady was naive. She was taken process by process. So she was naive, even if she saw that she was not involved in the process of negotiations, and she was paid a bag of potatoes and pepper. And so she accepted. She said, okay, you have paid your things. I'm an African woman. I will go with you. But please, when we go, do not treat me like this, this, and this. Are we following?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so the character traits of the speaker. One, the speaker is humble enough, because even after being bought, or even after not being involved in the negotiations and being paid, bought a sack of potatoes, she accepted to go with the husband. That is one. Two, even after seeing her mother and her sister being mistreated, to an extent of killing her sister, just in the name of relationship, she still insists, she still goes on to get married to this man. And thirdly, this lady, she assures the man, my friend, if you treat me well, I will not start fighting you. I will just sit as a woman and do my responsibility. All I request is to stop treating me like a machine and battering me every now and then. So there she was humble. Then the other character trait of this lady, she's assertive. She said, yes, whatever happened to my sister and my mother should not happen to me. And so what have I done to stop this? I have to talk to my husband as early as possible and warn him. So this should not happen. So foretold is forewarned. That is two. Three, this lady was assertive. Rather, she was critical. She has been evaluating every situation that has been happening. And so she tries to warn to go ahead of the problem and solve it before it happens. Three, this lady actually she's tough, she's harsh. She said, friend, I'm tired of talking in metaphors. Let me today tell you straight on. My mother was injured. My sister was killed. You bought me a sack of potatoes. And on top of that, you want to dismantle me every now and then. So could you please think twice before you do it again? So even the lady is authoritative. Here in the last line, you can see, I demand my human dignity. She's not requesting, she's demanding. So even the demanding shows that she's assertive. She knows her dignity. She knows her freedom. So this last line explains it can be put on being assertive and can also be put on authoritative. Okay, I hope we are together up to that point.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Number E says, discuss two elements of tradition highlighted in the poem. Which things have been highlighted in the poem that show tradition? Could we talk about them? African tradition, because we are dealing with African tradition. So which elements have been talked about in the poem that bring out the African tradition? Yes, Christine.
I think the owl is one of the elements that has been used. The owl in African tradition means something bad omen, or something bad. So the owl.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone of you who read Houseboy? Christine, have you read Houseboy?
No, I haven't.
Noella, have you read Houseboy? Pamela, have you read Houseboy?
No.
No.
Okay. Please, after here, maybe the shortest thing is look for a poem called The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. So The Raven, we have two.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please.
Pardon of the poem you've talked about.
It is called Raven, The Raven.
Okay.
Yeah, by Edgar Allan Poe.
Excuse me.
Yes, but is this Pamela or Patience?
Pamela.
Okay, yes, Pamela.
What if you edit it and send it in the group chat?
Okay, I will send it.
Okay, then thank you.
Noella, could you mute? Noella, mute, please. Okay, so there are two major birds that we know in Africa that they are birds. One is we have birds and animals anyway. The birds, we have an owl and a raven. You know what a raven is?
No.
Oh, a raven is, I don't know. We call it, for us, we call it Ekiagora. It is black and white. That is the raven. We know when it comes and stands on your house and it makes its noise, someone will die. We know someone is going to die in that village. So then the animals we have, once the dog growls, all cats. So those are signs of bad omen in African tradition. Okay, so Christine has given an example of an owl that in the poem. So do we have any other? Do you have any other element? Yes, Christine, once again.
I think also the dowry that was used to sell off their daughter, the potatoes and pepper.
Yes, thank you. Potato and peppers, a bag of potato and pepper, that was the dower, and it is an element of African tradition. Do we have any other?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Pamela.
Like on that one of owls hooting all night, dogs howling. Okay, like mostly that major point of owl hooting. Couldn't that be superstition?
Superstition, it is a theme. Superstition is a theme, but here we are dealing with elements. What shows, like, in other words, this poem they are going what they are asking is in indirectly they're asking for they have told you the setting. So two elements of tradition, and we know this poem must have been set in Africa because it is the Africans who have those superstitious beliefs that once the owl hoots, someone is going to die, something bad is going to happen. Or another, are you listening to me?
Yes.
Yes. You see, in the poem, let's look at here. Let's start identifying them, then I explain. Here, you see here in this stanza, there is an element of African tradition. There's this belief, as Pamela has asked, superstition, where when she was peeling the matoke to put them in the pot, they were standing. You know that?
Yeah.
Yes, so they believe when she put the matoke, the plantain in the cooking pot, and they stood, they did not settle. It was a signal that something bad is going to happen, and it happened that she received a sack of pieces of flesh of her daughter. Are you getting the point?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is one of the elements. And the other element of African tradition is that in African tradition, has men or husbands think that women are just subjects, are just objects to use, and you just throw them away. That's why her father did not think twice to sell her to a man in exchange for a bag of potatoes. That's one. Two, that's why this her daughter's husband did not think twice to send his in-laws a gift of a sack full of their daughter's pieces of flesh. And the other is that is why her mother's husband did not think twice to beat up her woman, because she did not vote the candidate that the husband wanted. Are you getting the point?
Yes.
So that is one of the elements that African men think women are just objects. You have to instruct them. Once they do not do what you want, you just beat them or even kill. You have the right. Yeah. So the other is that in African tradition, we know women, however much they may be treated, they can never speak out. So in here, her mother did not speak out anything. Her sister did not speak out anything. So for her, she came out and said, I'm going to go against the tradition and speak out to my husband over this mistreatment. It is already time. I don't know. Okay, the very last, the two last questions, let's handle them in the group, please. Please try to be active and handle these questions. I will correct where necessary. And I'm sure since we started, I've never handled techniques or poetic devices. And so for that case, please today at 8, get on active, and we discuss the techniques or the poetic devices in this poem. In case you have any question, please. Pamela says, thank you, sir. Thank you, Pamela, very much. Christine says, thank you, teacher. Thank you, Pamela, too.